Welcome back, everybody, to the Transfer Portal podcast. We are back with another week one review. We had a great week of college football. It's finally back. I'm so excited to watch the games this weekend. I got my boy Josh here. Josh, how was your weekend? How you doing?
Man, week zero is always fun. It's kind of like nice to have like a little week zero thing. It's kind of a college football
Mhm.
thing. But like
Little
getting
pregame.
yeah, but getting the full slate, especially because it's always on the Labor Day weekend, Thursday. Although when we still got a game coming up tonight, uh FSU versus Boston College, man. It's just right in your face, right back at it. So much fun to be back, man. It's so much fun, Adam.
Yeah, man. It was a crazy week. So the format we're gonna do, this was Josh's idea, great idea. I love this idea. We're gonna do the good, the bad, and then the ugly of what we saw this week in college football. So I like to start with the good. I'm a positive person until my team started losing. you know, I think both our teams won. So we'll start with the good. Josh, what's something good that you saw this weekend?
Good. Well, just a quick mention. UW, Washington, started out just
Yes.
cruised against Weber State, but focused on the big thing. My first big one. Tetero and McMillan and Noah Fafita at Arizona. That duo, if you don't know Tetero and McMillan, wide receiver, Noah Fafita, quarterback, they balled out. McMillan, 10 receptions, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, this close to a fifth touchdown. And it would have been so like 300, I think 320 yards then in that case. McMillan, if you don't know him, he is probably the best wide receiver in college football. Uh, Showed a mix of bully ball catches. He's 6'5", 212, and he can probably put on even a little bit more healthy weight. And besides just bully ball catches, he also showed I am faster than you catches. It was insane. I don't, I hesitate like comparing players to greats, but I have not seen a college wide receiver do what he's done since Mike Evans with his size speed combo. And like, I'm not saying he's there yet because it was New Mexico. They did play New Mexico, but McMillan, if you watched last season, he balled out too. Fafita, a little bit on the other end physically, he's 5'10", 188. If he was 6 foot, I think he'd be in first round conversations. He just balls 420, two passing yards, four touchdowns, all to McMillan. This duo is so much fun, just balling out. They could just run the table or at least do real good in the Big 12 just because this duo is so dominant. Problem is the defense wasn't that great. They gave up 39 to New Mexico. Um, so if, at the very least, watch this duo at Arizona. It's gonna be really fun. They'll sub in for the Pac-12 after dark for the most part because their games will start late for the most part. That was just so much fun to watch. Late night. Adam, what's your first positive? Your first good?
My first good is the I kind of want to take about the last night. We go with another quarterback. It's a whole team, honestly. USC football.
Yep, yep.
There's I feel like Lincoln Riley catches a lot of flack, right? And some of it rightfully so. His defenses have not been good really forever, it seems like. But I thought they played really well last night. And we said this a lot that if USC can just play okay on defense, then they'll be really good. They can challenge for a national championship because you know how the offense is going to do. Miller Moss, he was spinning it last night. Zachariah Branch was amazing. That whole offensive, I mean, it was great, right? Some of the play calling I didn't agree with for thinking Riley, but he knows more about football than I do, so I'm not going to question him on anything on the offense, respectfully. But yeah, I thought USC looked very good. The defense looked good. The LSU offense is no cakewalk, right? Like they have guys on the other side of the ball too. I thought they played. I thought Messmeyer played really well as well, and that was a tough game for USC. That's a game that they would lose last year. I think. I don't think they go down and they win that game, but they figured it out. I think tide might be turning in Southern California for Lincoln Riley. What do you think?
Yeah, they hired I can't remember his name, which was really bad. They hired the DC from UCLA to come over. The reason I
Mhm.
can't remember his name is because they also hired the head coach from North Dakota State to come
Yeah.
up and also coach, and they hired like someone else. They just hired. everybody on defense. I think Lincoln Riley finally said never again and said we're just gonna
Mhm.
load up on defense. I got the offense, it'll be fine. Again, like you said, sometimes the play calling on the offense is questionable, but at the end of the day, Lincoln Riley knows what to do with quarterbacks. And Miller Moss is fun. Garrett Nussmeier also fun for LSU. That game was just really, really fun. I got a friend who's a Raiders fan, and I was joking that both those quarterbacks were better than either of the quarterbacks or any of the quarterbacks that the Raiders got. And that, so like maybe the Raiders should just like, hey, let's just scout these guys real quick. But yeah, I agree with you. Just if just the past 2 years, if USC had an okay defense with Caleb Williams, they would have been in the playoffs. Just that's
Yeah.
all they needed. And ah, it's sad that it took that long and it's taken this long because if you look all the way back at like the Oklahoma teams that Lincoln Riley's had, uh, just some form of a defense. How much better we'd think of Lincoln Riley. Because I'm assuming a slightly better defense, they'd have more success under his watch at his teams. But like, yeah, like you said, this I know it's just one game, but when's the last time we said, "Hey, the Lincoln Riley team, their defense got stops," plural?
The
I
defense
agree.
was, I mean, Miller Moss was he was a star, right? Zachariah Branch and stuff, but the defense I thought won them the game.
Exactly, exactly. Like LSU was cooking, and then USC's defense, not just the interception at the end, like they were making plays, and it's just that's all they needed. Just a little something. That's all we asked for all these years. It makes me smile. Makes me smile.
You got another good, something good happened?
Yeah, another player, heavy player focus, at least for this section. Ashton Jeanty or Genty. I've heard those two pronunciations, so I'm gonna say both. Boise State running back. Boise State went down to Georgia Southern, hot, humid, mid-afternoon kickoff down there in Georgia. They won 56 to 45. Because Jeanty said, give me 20 carries and I'll give you 267 yards and 6 touchdowns. He would have had more, but his last touchdown, which was like a 70-something yard touchdown, he cramped up at the end. Um, so they put in Sire Gaines, who's like a freshman, and Sire Gaines had 12 carries for 110 yards and another touchdown. So Boise State's got an amazing backfield. And Genty, like last year, he was really, really good. He was our Colt Brennan Award winner last year,
Mhm.
voted on by the fans, but all of us had him like in our top two candidates when we put the pool together for finalists. But yeah, he's just so special. It's crazy that he didn't leave Boise State. That no one gave him like hit him up. I know he didn't go into the transfer portal, but no one hit him up because we know teams they mess with players all the time. No one hit him up and said, "Hey man, here's a boatload of cash. Come here." But hey, he's a Boise State balling now, and they are the defending Mountain West Conference champs for a reason. They got him. They've got a good team, and at the very least, if he doesn't have to put up these crazy numbers, but if he keeps doing what he's shown he's done this past few years, he should be in New York as a finalist. Now, I'm not saying he's gonna win, but he should be there just because he's that good.
Yeah, I saw his stat line and I thought the game was over. It was halftime. I was like, there's no way. I had to turn to the second half. It was a good game too. And I saw stat. I thought, okay, they're blowing them out, and it was a close game. I was like, oh, what is going on here? But and then another funny thing. Do you play NCAA college football?
I am not there yet to spend all the money because I need to get a new console too. But
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
I'm gonna wait a little bit. I'm gonna wait a little bit.
yeah, that's that's
There'll be
fine.
sales. There'll be sales.
Well, we're in a dynasty, right? And one of my buddies, he uses Boise State.
Oh,
And we always say, like, bro, Ashton Genty, he'll run for like 400 yards. And we're like, that's so unrealistic. He's not doing that in real life. What are you doing? Were you running cheese plays? We all had to apologize in the group chat because it was like, you were right. He's that good. We apologize. All you gotta do is just give him the ball
yep,
and let
yep.
him go. Um, yeah, he's a beast. Um, and those are the type of performances you're gonna have to have. If they want to make the college football playoff. You know?
Exactly, exactly. One of those G5 teams. We're just gonna assume that the G5 team that makes it's gonna be the 12th seed. Um
Yeah.
it would be crazy if they got a higher seed. It would be
I mean,
awesome, but
yeah.
I don't think the committee would want to. But yeah, That's a dangerous 12 seed if Boise State makes it.
Mm, mm. I got one more good as well.
All right, all right.
And this is something that I was catching on as I was watching the games late Saturday. I was like, well, he's playing well. Okay, he's playing well too. He's playing well. Transfer quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it takes a while for them to kind of gel with a new team, especially if it's a veteran team, like some of these have joined, or a team that's already had success. You're coming in and you're taking over for a first round draft pick. But Grayson McCall played well. Will Howard, I thought he didn't play anybody, but I thought they played well. Dylan Gabriel, I thought Oregon's offense was a little weird, but I didn't think he played terribly. Wiley Leonard, we saw, how clutch he came up against Texas A&M. Cam Ward, we already know about him. DJ plays tonight. We'll see how he does. Even Cade McNamara played well. I know he's not a transfer. He transferred there last year, but he got hurt, so we're gonna count it still.
Yep.
It's transfer quarterback. Shout out to them because that's not an easy thing to do, and they came in, they handled their business.
Exactly. We all know that quarterback is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just to like the variety of names that you mentioned, they don't always have to be like super studs and come in. Um, as long as you're good enough at the college, like Cade McNamara, as long as you're good enough at the college level and you got a good team around you, you can succeed. But like we saw with Iowa last year, if I mean also the offensive play calling and all that stuff. But if you don't have a college average quarterback, you're gonna get sunk. You can still have a good team. Like Iowa still won like what 9, 10 games last year. Iowa should have won a lot more games last year. At least should have been a lot less painful to watch their offense. So you're totally right. Transfer quarterbacks, just the amount of talent year after year, and just getting better and better. It's fun to watch, and it's just better for college football fans. They'll be like, hey, our team wasn't good this year, but hey, we brought in this transfer quarterback. Should be at least a little bit better. Yeah, exactly.
All right, now let's move on to the bad. Something that it wasn't good. It wasn't like didn't make you want to throw up, but it was a little underwhelming, I guess. Disappointing. What did you see that was disappointing for you?
You mentioned it a little bit, but I'll touch on it as a whole. The Oregon offense. Dylan Gabriel, 41 of 49, 380 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jordan James, 15 carries, 95 yards, 1 touchdown. Okay, that's pretty good. And if you look at like a lot of teams, Oregon played Idaho. A lot of big time teams, they play like the lower level competition or FCS teams. The starters will put up pretty good numbers, but then like they'll kind of check out and they'll get in the backups. Here's the problem. Oregon only won 24-14. And we have to try
Dogfight.
oh my God. Yeah. We know we've been on Idaho's a good team. They lost a few players from last year's team, but Idaho's still a really good FCS team. But it's 24-14. I'll say Oregon's defense looks just fine. Like they did really, really good. Um, but we might have to adjust our expectations where Oregon's offense might have to get carried by this defense a little bit, and Oregon's offense might just have to manage. Um, I mean, I quote tweeted like ESPN put out the graphic, and I quote tweeted on the account like, how in the world did they put up the stat line and the other one 24-14? And like as last I checked, there's like 20,000 likes, so many people just interacting because people are like just either they're yelling about Dylan Gabriel just being a check down merchant, they're yelling about the offense, or they're just saying, hey, it was a bunch of penalties, or just other random people just saying, do you not know how stats work? It's like, guys, I understand. I understand how the stat, I know that how the total. Anyways, so I guess there's some penalties, a few turnovers, some O-line shuffling a little bit because of injuries. But this is Oregon versus Idaho. Okay. This is Oregon who's supposed to be they're one of the teams that people when you mentioned I know it's a 12-team playoff, but when people are asked, hey, who are your like top four teams to win the title this year? Oregon's there for a lot of people. You can't do this against Idaho. Okay. I picked out a random game last year. Okay. This is Michigan versus Nebraska. JJ McCarthy, 12 for 16, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. Blake Corum, 16 carries, 74 yards, a touchdown. Donovan Edwards, a big name, 14 carries for 48 yards. Okay. Score versus an FBS program, 45-7. Okay. If if and we know like Michigan, like they just chilled always on offense and just kind of like let their defense handle things. And but like you cannot, as Oregon, you cannot come into the season as one of the top four picks to win the national championship and do what you did against Idaho. I don't care if he had the penalties. I don't care if he shuffled the O-line because of injuries. That was really bad. I don't care if Dylan Gabriel is a check down merchant and he put up a bunch of empty calorie stats. I don't care. He should have put up those stats and then should have been, all right, we're up 30 to nothing. We can put in the backups. This bad, man. I don't know. I know I'm overreacting a little bit and like it's week
I don't
one.
think you are.
Yeah, I'm probably overreacting like a little bit. Like I feel like really, really scared, but like this is I mean, come on, Oregon. This is kind of scary. Um, I still think they'll be fine. I still think they'll make the playoff, but I don't know now. Like, should we have them as a top four team? I don't know.
The top three
I
team.
top three
Top
exactly.
three.
They're three in the AP. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I, I agree. I remember you tweeting that out, and I wasn't watching that game because I thought that was going to be a blowout.
Exactly.
I turned to it in the second half. I was like, it's 14-0 at halftime. What are we doing? So I kind of started tuning in then, and I mean, I was looking at the stat line. Oregon's leading receiver was their tight end, who's a beast. Transfer, he's a beast. Then it was Tez Johnson, who yeah, he'll get the ball. Then it was running back. They're three of their top four pass catchers weren't wide receivers, and they have Evan Stewart on their team, who
Yup.
might be a top five wide receiver in the country, and they can't get him the ball. They probably have two of the best deep threat players in Evan Stewart and Tez Johnson. It's like it it seemed like they were saving their offense for a bigger game ahead, I guess. Sometimes you kind of see when they play these lower level schools, let's go test some stuff out. Let's get Dylan Gabriel high, get him throwing the ball down the field, get his confidence up. It seemed like they were hiding their offense. Like they play Michigan next week. They don't want to give anything away. I don't know who they play next week, but
They play Boise State.
they play Boise State next week.
They
Okay.
play
I
another
mean,
Idaho team, and we just saw what
yeah.
Boise State did.
Yeah,
We can't do this.
maybe they're worried about Boise State's defense kind of figuring things out for them. I don't know, but it was very disappointing, underwhelming. But I mean, to the same time, that's Dylan Gabriel's game, though. That's what he wants to do. He's not a guy who's going to stretch the ball down the field. Oklahoma tried to get him to do that. It didn't work out well because that's just not who he is. So maybe they're playing the Dylan Gabriel strengths, but I think you got to have more downfield passing than that if you have national championship hopes. I agree.
Yeah. I was just pulling up Tez Johnson. He's so in an interview after the game, he was just being asked like stuff, and then he said, and this isn't. I'm gonna just say the part of the quote that matters, but this isn't like, oh, it's being taken out of context. This is like the gist of what he was saying. So the quote is, I could tell on his face, Dylan Gabriel. I could tell on his face he was a little hesitant, Tez Johnson on Dylan Gabriel. And then like if you listen to the rest of the quote, it's like, yeah, he's a little hesitant, but we're still out there. We still support him, stuff like that. We believe in him. It's like he said that statement, and then the rest of it was like, oh no, he's so good. We're doing it. It's like, I didn't hear anything. No, in practice he's ripping it up. That stuff like it's like, what? Dylan Gabriel's been in college football for 10,000 years. Okay.
He's played in massive games too.
Yeah.
It's like
And they got talented. I mean, he's a little shaky last year, but they've got talented Dante Moore sitting on the bench behind him. And I know it's supposed to be Dante Moore comes in, just watches, and then comes in next year for Oregon. We're gonna have to break out Dante Moore a little sooner. I don't know, man. I do not know. I feel like this is really like harsh for the bad section. This should be my ugly. But like again, the reason I don't feel as bad is because number one, it's week one. Number two, I believe Idaho is still like another FCS, but they're good. And number three, I believe Oregon's defense is going to be really, 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 really good this year. So, um, it's just again, once you get to tough games, I'm not even talking about postseason. Once you get to tough games, you're gonna need your offense. So
I think about
I
sometimes
don't know Oregon.
give Idaho credit too. They played good. They made their tackles. They played hard. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with my bad, not bad, disappointing. And it's the week 1 scheduling.
Hmm.
The amount of high level national championship contender teams, including my own team that played just bad, poor teams that they're so much better than is disappointing. One of the best things that why I was an advocate for an expanded playoff was because in a 14 playoff, if you lose one game, you're on the bubble, right? If you lose two games, you're out. So I understand why teams, you gotta you gotta cherry pick your schedules a little bit. In a 12-team playoff and you're in the SEC or the Big Ten, you can lose two games, especially if it's to a good team. Go out there and play somebody week 1. Like this, I want to see this is what everybody's been waiting for all summer. And I gotta go watch Arkansas score 70, Tennessee score 70, Ole Miss score like 60 something. Then their opponent scores zero. It's like it's not. I stopped watching Texas play after the first quarter. It's like this is boring. I turned it back on once Arch came in, but that's only because Arch was in. It's just there's so many just lopsided games. Missouri 51-0, Utah 49-0, Kansas 48-3. Like, why can't Kansas play Missouri? You know, like go play somebody. It's very disappointing. Um, I hope next year we do better. I need better week 1 scheduling.
Yeah. And like even for me, I understand why um teams might not want to schedule like hard, difficult
Yeah, I'm
opponents
not I'm not
week one.
saying play
But like,
Georgia,
yeah, like
but like
play play the top of the G5.
play an
Play,
FBS team at
yeah,
least,
yeah,
right?
play Appalachian State, play Boise State. Like, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Um, play like UNLV is like they're up and coming. Play one of those teams. Play or like I know I said it on the thing, but it will never happen. But like, well, I'll switch it up a little bit. I said it would be really cool if an FBS team went to play at an FCS stadium. I know that would never happen, but like, if an FBS team wanted to go play at go play at lower level, like or Oklahoma State a few years ago, they went to play at Central Michigan. Like they still
Mm-hmm.
blew them out. Which is actually crazy because then the following year they lost on the Hail Mary to Central Michigan on the return trip. But yeah, like you can go play like these really bad teams, but at least go to their place. I mean, I know like the lower level teams do it for the money, and I get it, that's like really good for the academic or their athletic programs. But I'm with you, man. I don't want to be bored. You figure out your own finances, your on your own time, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to be bored. I completely agree, man. It's still fun games, but yeah, I agree. It could have been so much
Yeah.
better.
Also, I hate neutral site games. I want to say that too.
Yeah,
I
yep,
get rid of the only neutral site game that should be allowed is Texas versus Oklahoma.
yes, yeah, or Army Navy, but like
Army Navy,
that's a
Army
completely
Navy.
that's like
Yeah,
its
that's
own
different.
separate. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah,
All right, what else were you disappointed in this week?
I'm gonna keep this one a little bit shorter than my last little thing on Oregon's offense. But Florida. Um,
uh,
I really loved the Billy Napier hire. I thought he was going to be that dude, but like, and I mean, Florida, they have all this talent. Like, there is talent, and I mean, they had the recruits there. But if you saw the videos after the game, those recruits are probably going to Miami. Um, like just all this talent, nothing to show for it. Um, I've heard a few college football more like analysts and stuff so that Napier would probably be better as like a quarterbacks coach or an analyst. Because like his schemes and stuff, and like when he teaches quarterbacks, if you go look like he made, I know like he wasn't good this game, but Graham Mertz last year was like, oh, Graham Mertz looks fine. Um, Quarterbacks he had at Louisiana, he made them really really good. Levi Levis, something like that. His name, lefty, fun quarterback. But yeah, he made those guys good. But when Napier's like has to do all the head coaching stuff, it's not good. And I agree with Dan Mullen's retweet that the last Florida head coach had them going to New Year's Six games at least. I know y'all got spoiled with Urban Meyer, but hey, you're still going to New Year's Six games. So I don't know, Florida just all this talent, not to show for it. Those Tim Tebow teams like always makes it so there's a little bit of Florida love in my heart forever and ever. So it pains a little bit of me, but yeah, Florida. get ready to learn buyout money, buddy. Get ready to learn buyout.
Yeah.
Oh,
Might have to fundraise a little bit, you know. Steve Spurrier is still in there in the office, I think.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Everything's about Billy Napier. I think I agree. I think he on the field. I think he's a good coach.
Mhm.
I just yes, that's not. You got to have more than that. I don't think he's a good motivator. The team just they don't look motivated to play. They don't play hard. I feel like I know some inside stuff on Florida. I can't say, but it's
Just vibes bad.
yeah, the vibes are not on 10
That's all we need.
right
That's all
now.
we need to know.
The vibes are not on 10. All
Speaking
right.
of not on 10, what's your bad?
Yeah. Speaking of bad vibes, I'm going down to College Station, and not so much Texas A&M because I think they'll be fine. I think Mike Elko's a good coach. It was his first game ever coaching the program. Like, relax. Some of the my Aggie friends, they're already freaking out. I saw on the forums, they start freaking out already. Just relax. You're gonna be fine. But the quarterback, he's been there for too long to be playing like that. It was he looked rattled. He's making bad decisions. He never really got the offense moving a little bit. Now, in his defense, you know, he lost Evan Stewart. Ruben Owens is gone. Those are his two best weapons. But it wasn't so much like he didn't have anybody to throw or to help him out. The decisions he was making were bad in his throws. Like his two interceptions were just bad throws. It was nothing about, oh, nobody was open or the defender made a great play. He was just, they were just he sailed the first one, and the second one was, I mean, he could just hit him in stride, he threw it behind him, got picked off. Should have thrown a third one at the end of the game. It was Texas A&M. They have high hopes. This is a big year for them, especially because Texas is coming. Texas is not coming. They're back in the SEC, and this is your legacy year. It's only going to get harder for Texas A&M. They gotta put something on the field. Mike Elko needs. I mean, I thought he called it okay game. It's just quarterback just couldn't execute, which is
Yeah,
disappointing because I had high hopes for him. I thought he's gonna be really good.
exactly. I follow I love like draft stuff and even like in this off season, like already for the 2025 draft, people were like draft people saying, "Hey man, Wegman's got stuff. He might be QB1." I'm like, "Hey, I agree. Like he looked pretty good last year. I know he got injured and stuff, but it just last year, like too, like you're saying, like the decision making this game versus last year, like I know like he made some throws last year that were questionable because like he was gunslinging. He's like, I'm gonna do this. I got
And
this.
that's fine.
And
I'm
he
okay
can.
with that.
Yeah. This year though, but like this game, like you were saying, like he just didn't look he looked rattled, which is crazy because he was the home quarterback.
Yeah, you're at home, you know, and it's. I'm not saying he's bad. I have him in my bad, disappointing because I expect
Hmm.
so much more of him.
Exactly.
Like, you know, it's kind of like Cade Klubnik too. Like you see the potential, you see it there. He has all the tools. He can spin it, right? He's very good. I was, and it's just I put it on the field. You know, I go out there, I watch Texas A&M play. Like I want to see like this. Even though I'm a hater, right? I'm a Texas A&M hater, but as a football fan, I want to see him succeed. You know, and I see it there. I see the tools. I just where is it consistently? It's the consistency, I guess, for me.
Yeah, just
All right,
unfortunate.
now 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 let's get to the ugly. You know,
Hmm.
what's the ugly, the worst thing you saw in week one?
So my first ugly Brian Kelly in week ones, man. I don't know. Like
Uh,
I know how you were saying, hey man, schedule good teams. Maybe no. Brian Kelly, go ahead and schedule FCS Northwestern, man. Like at LSU, back-to-back losses to Florida State. And then this game against USC. Like I don't know. And then it's just and even like when he was with Notre Dame too, they had the opening game at Florida State, where like they won in overtime. They said like I'm quoting him. He said like he wanted to kill his players or something like that. It's like, no, man. And then after this game, he said like, yeah, their quarterback outplayed our quarterback. It's like, no, he didn't. They both played really well. What are you talking
say,
about?
that's not what happened.
Yeah, it's like, what is put the blame on yourself. Like Brian Kelly just And then like there's the whole thing with like the fake accent and like I think Brian Kelly just number one, let me run your PR, man. Let me speak for you. Okay, I'm gonna make you look good by just not saying the foolish stuff that you say. I say we, and the whole transfer portal CFB, we'll help you, man. We will all help you. And then number two is like, yeah, just go ahead and schedule Lance Vote. You can, Brian Kelly. That's fine. Um, but man, just I don't know. What do they do in the off season? Like what do they do? I don't know. It's uh it's not even like they get like transfer portal stuff. Like they're working the transfer like yes, they got recruiting high school, they're doing pretty good, but transfer portal, they didn't really go get anyone. And he like mentioned how they want to build um through recruiting high school, like the traditional way. And he kind of got skewered for it. And the people were saying, no, that's a pretty good idea. It's like, not if you're LSU and you can, and you are the team in Louisiana, and everybody will transfer to you. If any kids like been any Louisiana recruit who went out of state, they'll come back. You just give them the word, but they didn't. It's like, I don't know, man. Just throwing away talent so many times at LSU and even at Notre Dame. Just Brian Kelly, man. I don't know. I don't know. I think
Did
you're a good
you
coach, but like, come on, man.
did you watch his press conference? Did you watch the whole thing when he slammed the table and stuff?
I can't watch all of his press conference because I get secondhand embarrassment every single
It
time.
was so cringy. Like it looked planned almost. Like he was gonna go in there and he's gonna just like it. It looked forced. It was bad. I
Hmm.
know it's Brian Kelly. He's kind of like a walking meme in college
Yes.
football amongst the college football fan base. But yeah, that was bad. That
Don't
was
like it.
ugly.
Game was fun. Game was fun, but no,
The
that was
game.
not.
I thought that was the best game of the slate.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Well played. Yeah. What's your first ugly, Adam? Let's hurry up and get through this section because it's just oh.
yeah.
But
All
yeah,
right.
what you
My
got?
first ugly is Michigan's QB room.
Hmm.
It's kind of like what you said about Brian Kelly. What did y'all do off season? What did y'all do all off season that you and it's not like they tried to spin it like it's a QB battle. We don't know who we want. And knowing when you think QB battle, you think you have two really good guys
Hmm.
and you want to see who's better at in different ways. They're both just really bad. They're trying to
Yeah.
figure out who cannot suck the worst. And it looked so bad. And I'm especially with Jim Harbaugh leaving, it's kind of like not sure more. He's not under pressure because of what he did last year, but if it falls off the rails, Michigan doesn't like losing.
Hmm.
They're not, there's not a losing fan base, and they got some dogs coming next week, so they need to figure it out really fast because the way that offense played on this what was the score at halftime? Six points at halftime or something like that.
It was a one possession game, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
Not in the Big Ten this year, and not next week when Texas comes up to town. So the QB room it was ugly. Both of them just looked absolutely terrible.
Yeah. All offseason, I thought it was just gonna be Alex Orji because just
Yeah,
his
I love them too.
athleticism and like he's got a cannon. Like it's inaccurate, but he's got a cannon. So I thought like, hey, we'll just do like QB run stuff and like let him just chuck it deep. And then I apologize for not knowing the name of the guy off the top of my head. But the other guy, um, he came in and I don't know. Does what's going on? What's happening? Michigan, I mean, I get that last few years you've been able to just kind of coast for like the first 6 weeks of the season because that's how they schedule. And the Big Ten like lets them schedule like weaker Big Ten opponents, let them. And you can't do that now. Like you said, Texas
Yeah,
is coming.
yeah.
Texas is ready.
Davis Warren, that's his name, and it's like we saw as Orgy last year. He's a dynamic athlete. And it's like you're that bad, you're that good of an athlete at quarterback. And you have to be that bad at passing that they don't trust you to pass the ball 15 times a game.
Hmm.
He can't do that.
Hmm.
It's like you're that bad that they go into Davis Warren to pass the ball. Who look good luck, Michigan. If I
Good
was
luck.
if I was a Wolverine, I'd be scared.
Yeah. Well, nope.
All right, last
Oh,
one. You got one more ugly for us.
yeah. This one's a kind of a deeper cut, but it's kind of parallels. It's two purple FCS teams playing in-state red FBS teams. almost coming up with the upsets, but then just choking it away at the end, kind of. So first one, Abilene Christian, Texas Tech. If y'all didn't watch this game was awesome. I understand if you couldn't
Mhm.
because I think it was on ESPN Plus. I think I don't even know.
Yeah.
So Abilene Christian loses 51 to 52, or yeah, 51-52 in overtime. They scored the second touchdown. They went for two for the win. Great decision. Go for the win. But they called like they went wide receiver left, four right, and some people said it might have been an RPO. I think it was just a QB draw because that's what I've seen a lot of in that formation. And like they had the block, they had 5-on-4, but like it's five FCS guys versus four FBS guys. I know Texas Tech's defense isn't like the greatest thing, but they won. And like just a quick side tangent. My thought on 2-point conversions is that either you go like the Hunter Renfro touchdown to beat Alabama. You go like that play, like the rollout, and then you
Mhm.
have that kind of a pick play and make the officials call the offensive pass interference.
Yeah.
And like if you get backed up fine, then you can kick the extra point. Um and then or like you have a longer developing play because like especially in college, the defense is just gonna like someone's gonna lose their mind and like just lose gap integrity or go like run and like leave someone uncovered if you just run around long enough. And so like that's my thing, not just like don't just have a very quick let's do this. It's like it's one read decision on 2-point conversions. Um, because like yeah, like you guys might execute it well, but then it's college kids. They're someone's gonna mess up. Um, but then my biggest thing is I think Abilene Christian should have won in regulation, at least tried to win. They were down
I don't.
three. It was 4th and 1 at the 4 yard line. It was 7 seconds left, so basically fourth and goal at the four. And they decided to kick the field goal to tie, which is yeah, perfectly fair decision. But I just think the way their offense was going on that drive, they drove down to get into field goal range. I feel like they should have just gone for it there. Because like the plays before that, they threw like fade passes. And I thought, oh, just throwing fades real quick, so just some jump balls to set up. Okay, we're gonna have our money play on 4th down. But then they didn't. It's like, I don't know, just going to overtime then. Just, if you're the underdog, I just think like you want to lessen the game, lessen the chance, and just to put it in your hands, not go into overtime. So that's there. Shout out to Texas Tech though for picking up the win, but that's way too close. And then my
There's some
second
defense, first of all.
oh my gosh, my second purple team, um, man, Central Arkansas had it in the bag against Arkansas State, and then Arkansas State drove down 70 yards in 49 seconds, last second touchdown to win 34-31. Here's the thing, okay, so Arkansas State, they're like 11 yards out, throw a pass, it's caught in the left corner of the end zone, and I'm watching the official because like it's another ESPN Plus production, so like not as many TV camera angles, like not the best angle too. Guy goes to catch it. His feet are clearly in, but you watch the official like track the receiver all the way, and then he calls incomplete. And it's like, okay. Then they go to the review, and you can see, oh, it's because like the guy dropped the ball. But like, when did he drop the ball? And then they're like looking at it, reviewing it for a long time. Again, so they called it incomplete on the field. Long time review, and because it's lower level production, they don't have as many angles for to review it, right? And then they still say, oh yeah, no, it's a touchdown. What? And
Sir.
then someone, so shout to Jack Allen TV on Twitter. He covers a bunch of Arkansas sports around the state, not just like the University of Arkansas. He has a really good angle and then good to like you can slow down and everything. So the receiver catches the ball clearly inbounds, but then you can also see the official. As he's going to the ground, he hits the ground and then the ball pops out. And then he doesn't like catch it again. It pops out, falls on the ground. And that's when the official calls it incomplete. And so like that's an incomplete pass, right? Right? Am I
Did
crazy?
Dez catch it?
Exactly. No, it's not even the Des thing because like I,
Yeah.
I'm low key convinced like my another tangent. I'm low key convinced Des never like did never really touch the ground like he had it. In this case, the ball clearly popped out the dude's hands. Okay, from Section 4, Article 3B of the NCAA rulebook, if a player goes to the ground in the act of catching a pass, he must maintain complete and continuous control of the ball. Da 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 da. Scroll down to section C. If the player loses control of the ball while simultaneously touching the ground with any part of his body. Okay. So it's not just the, oh, his feet touchdown bounce. It's like the whole process. He hit the ground and then the ball popped out. And I think that's incomplete. And but my biggest thing is that if review is supposed to be clear and obvious, there was no clear and obvious replay that they showed for them to overturn that. And I just feel bad for Central Arkansas because Central Arkansas, dudes balled out for them. Like, and this is like Central Arkansas and Arkansas State, they don't like each other. And they don't play that much because it's FBS, FCS. So this was Central Arkansas's chance. And for this to come down to that play, I know like there's a bunch of other plays that you can go through the game, but for it to come down to that, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just kind of just real ugly just all around. Um, so feel bad for Central Arkansas. Just as ugly as their home field is. If you don't know Central Arkansas's home field, sorry, they're one of those colored fields that I don't
Yeah,
like it. But this was even uglier, that result for them. So
that's
unfortunate
tough.
situation them.
That's tough. All right, I got one more too.
All
Um,
right.
this one I feel like we have to touch on it, which Clemson. It's it's it's
Hmm.
it's not even this game because it's Georgia, right? You lost to Georgia, but I think it's gonna be might be an ugly year for them. They just couldn't move the ball. It's 3 points.
Oh,
And yeah, Georgia's good, but 3 points,
yeah.
you know,
Idaho
Van,
scored 14 against Oregon.
that's what I'm saying. Like you can't, you got to do better than that. You have to. I mean, what Vanderbilt scored 20 on them
Hmm.
last year. You're in your Clemson. You can't get three. You know what the lowest scoring game last year was? I'm looking at it right now. The lowest points they've held, not including Florida State. Ball State, they won 45-3. So
Goodness
that
gracious.
that's the company that Clemson is in right now. They're in company with Ball State.
Oh.
It's just I think is this the last year for Dabo before we get out of here?
Um, no, because Clemson was so bad in the wilderness for so long. Yes, they had like that one
Yeah.
freak national
What's his
championship.
hot seat meter? I don't think this is last year either. What's his hot seat meter? Where would you put it at? On a scale of 1 to 10.
I really don't know because I still think the
I'm at a
people,
5 right now.
yeah, the people in charge, like the people making the decisions, they probably still see him as a god. Just they probably
Yeah.
do, because like and because they love him because he'll still do it the right way. Like he says all the right stuff. The Christian stuff and everything. Says all that. Like for the most part, like Clemson also like they graduate all their players. They don't have any problem players. They still win. Like we we forgot about them last year, but they still won like 9 games.
Yeah.
Still look good. So it's like I don't know. I know
Just
everybody else in the outside is looking to like, hey, you have the we've literally seen it. You can win titles at Clemson. But I'll say you said a 5. I'll probably say a 4, 4 out of 10. But I can see it if it's another 2 years of this, then the people in charge will actually be like, hey, now we need to turn up the heat there a little bit.
I just want to know how ambitious are they? Because
Exactly.
if for Clemson, if you just want to just be relevant, then Dabo's your guy. He can get you 9, 10 wins, right?
Hmm.
Some years when you get the right cycle, you can compete. But if their ambition is national championship, like Ohio State, like Georgia, you know, I, I think his seat might be warming up.
Hmm. Completely agree. Yeah.
All right, you got anything else for us?
Yeah. Just quick final thoughts. I'm gonna just throw stuff at the wall. Just Georgia. Yeah, they're gonna be fine. No Trevor Etienne because of his suspension for 1 game. But let's throw this dude named Nate Frazier, who everyone like was saying, hey, they'll be fine. There's this Nate Frazier kid. Nate Frazier, running back, looks just fine, freshman. Shout out to Vanderbilt. Um, 34-27 win over Dark Horse, ACC Dark Horse, Virginia Tech. Diego Pavia is a madman, and I mean that in a complimentary way. Hope Kyron Drones, the Virginia Tech quarterback. I hope he's okay because he looked a little bit banged up. He did good, but he looked banged up. He was banged up, and then they had to take him out. At the end there, but Vanderbilt biggest home win. I'd say in the Clark Lee era because they did go on the road and they beat a pretty decent Kentucky team. Yeah, this is really good for Vanderbilt. Notre Dame. I just think I'll just say this real quick and move on. Notre Dame is a top 12 team, take that as you will. Next, um, like you said, USC. Like, look at what happens when you play any defense. Just some. Good job, USC. Next, Ryan Williams is the next awesome Alabama wide receiver. He's only 17 years
Oh,
old. Get ready to hear a lot of that. He's only 17. It's gonna get old real quick, like the Braylon Allen thing when like Braylon Allen was young. But yeah, Ryan Williams is awesome. Uh, just chill out on the Penn State hype on the offense. I think they'll be better, but they did look good last year against West Virginia, and then
mhm.
uh, everything crumbled down. And I think they'll be better, but just don't think they're there just yet. Don't think they're better. Central Michigan's Dante Kent, kick return and a punt return touchdown in the same game. That's really fun. Minnesota's offense might be real bad. And transfer quarterback Max Brosmer. It's not his fault, I don't think. Again, a lot of college football insiders saying that a bunch of teams were upset that Minnesota landed Max Brosmer because they're saying, hey, we could have actually used Brosmer's talent. Because Brosmer he was just in hell against North Carolina, just running around for dear life. Darius Taylor, really good running back. They need him. Um, bunch of various games, just quick summary. Stop playing for field goals at the end of games and halves, and
Win the
stop
game.
and stop playing prevent defense. Win the game. Northwestern's home stadium on the lake looks real cool, and I really they host Ohio State, and unfortunately, that game is at Wrigley Field. I really wish they would make Ohio State play in that disgusting cold off the lake later in the year in that stadium. Yeah, it looks really cool. UNLV's offense is going to cook this year again. They're going to be another fun team to watch in the Mountain West again. Uh, Rob Carter Jr., defensive back at Robert Morris, had the catch of the year on an interception. Like
Oh my gosh.
it was like some people were saying like complimentary that it was completely unnecessary for him to do it, but yeah, it's so cool that he caught it like that one-handed. Yeah, just go style on them. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. And finally, Travis Hunter for Heisman, or Ashton Jeanty, or Cam Ward, or Miller Moss, or Tetron McMillan. Those are Heisman race will be fun this year. I know there's not like the big name quarterbacks that we have, but there's just a bunch of dudes who are gonna make it really fun and really fun conversation for the Heisman. Fun in the sense of like, so long as you're like treating it right and not being like this guy's the Heisman and everyone else is wrong. Like it's gonna
Mhm.
be a lot of dudes, and I wish because I think they finalized it last year that it's just the top four go. I wish they'd just make it five. Let five guys go. Let six guys go. Let them. I don't care. Just let them all go.
Depend on how it feels that year, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Uh,
Take two if it's only two.
exactly. Um, but yeah, that's my last few thoughts. Any last thoughts from you, Adam?
I got a few. LSU, you owe me $200 because you didn't kick that field goal. I had
Oh
a
my
bet that
gosh.
any LSU. I had a bet anytime score on
Huh.
the first 5 minutes of the game. LSU's
Yeah.
driving down the field and they want to do that. Just look completely out of it too. They didn't know they didn't get to play in the first time. They call timeout and they come out and they don't even. It's not even close. It's Brian Kelly, like you were saying.
Yep.
Whatever. Um, Colorado got to look better as well. On just it's kind of the same old Colorado it looked like. But I'm just good to be back, man. That's my final thoughts. I'm good. I'm good to be back. It's good to have the boys back. We're back. Football's back. All is well in the world.
Yeah. Amen to that, man.
All right, that is going to do it for this week one preview. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe. Get your friend, get your mom, your auntie, whoever, your girl, your man, whoever's watching. Give them a like and subscribe. It really help us out. That's going to do it for us. I'm Adam. This is Josh. Follow Josh at Josh_Ray_A. I'm at Too Awesome. We'll see you for our week two preview. Thank you.